Hi, fans of high-quality entertainment. I bet you don't own any of these 12 vinyl records. Although maybe you will own one or two of them. And as always, this is just a fun way to talk about music and different records. First up is a very underrated band. They were actually the first band I saw in concert back in 1974 when they opened up for King Crimson at Massey Hall in Toronto. I'm talking about Golden Earring. And this is Grab It for a Second. I've never heard this album. By this time I'd stopped buying Golden Earring albums. Not that I didn't like them, but for whatever reason I stopped buying them. So if you own this, let me know what you think of it. Here's the band. Oh yeah, this is when they had a fifth member on keyboards, I believe. No, I guess it was a second guitarist. Guitar and slide guitar. And by the way, not a very good album cover. On the MCA label, yep, it's there. Next up, I don't remember if I bought this. I do remember seeing it in the record stores a lot in the 70s. I think maybe if they had a second album, maybe it was the second album I bought. But this is The Motors. And is that Bram Travasky or whatever his name was? Let me know. I don't know why they basically the same picture on the front and back, just reversed. It's silly. Okay, no idea what label it's on. MCA maybe. Is that? On the Virgin label. (1978). Oh boy, almost 50 years ago. Next up, this band. Now this album was owned by Lisa Mitchell. Hello, Lisa, in case you're watching. This band should have been in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame years ago. This is Three Dog Night, Golden Biscuits. Almost looks like a like a prog album cover. And yes, for the most part, Three Dog Night did cover songs, but they made those cover songs their own, and they made those cover songs hits. And they had a great band behind them. Of course, on the ABC Dunhill label. One-man band, Out in the Country, Nobody, Woman, Don't Make Promises, Try a Little Tenderness. So this was early in their career, and they had other hits later on. One, Easy to Be Hard, Mama Told Me Not to Come, Eli's Coming, Your Song, and Celebrate. Now, this album I have heard, but it was a long, long time ago, and one of my older brothers owned it. I don't know if I liked it or not. Back in the 70s, I wasn't really into prog. But this band is Triumphant Spartacus Triumphant, or something like that. $1975. Yep. No idea what record label it is. It is on Capitol. So they had some chart success, I think, in Canada and the States, at least in the 70s. Now, speaking of Canada, this is a Canadian band, another one of their albums. I believe this is their first one, Edward Bearings. I might have had this album before. They are a band out of Toronto, I believe. Then later on, they went more pop with, they had one big hit with Last Song on the Capitol record label. How about some Todd Rundgren with Utopia? I've never heard this album. Adventures in Utopia. I'm going to try and guess the year just from that. I'm going to say 87. Way off, 1980. Of course, Todd was on the Bearsville record label. Just the band again. With their own custom label. Next up, another album I always used to see in the record stores, but I don't think I've ever heard this album. But I guess, you know, fairly popular. It's Audience, The House on the Hill. No gatefold. No idea what record label. Elektra. Home to the Doors. Now this one, I want to get on CD. I've never heard this album. And I'm a big fan of the Moody Blues. I have their first few albums on CD, but I've never heard this. Justin Hayward and John Lodge, Blue Jays. And yes, I've heard this is a really, really good album. Threshold. Yeah, London Threshold. Inner sleeve. Oh, that's cool. And with the lyrics. Next up, I have this album on CD. I have all of their albums. They released, I think it was four albums. Very underrated 60s band. This is the Buckinghams, Time and Charges. Columbia. Yep. If you love great pop rock music, I highly recommend their later albums Portraits and In One Ear and Gone Tomorrow. Now this artist, very popular artist, but I guess in the last 2-3 years had kind of a downfall because, well, I'll just show you here. It's Buffy St. Marie. And I'll put a little blurb here if you want to read that about her. So it goes this way. MCA label. Now this band I've heard of, but I never realized the cover was like this. Every mother's son's back. Look. Here they are. They look so they look so young. Makes me feel old. The MGM label. One more, and I bet some of you have this, and I have heard parts of this album. Elvis, Aloha from Hawaii via satellite. Of course, it features one of my favorite Elvis songs, the American Trilogy. I've watched the video for that dozens of times. Gatefold. RCA. So that's 2 CDs. And that is it. Please remember to like the video and leave a comment below let me know which of these albums you've heard and what you think of them. Always love reading the comments for the most part. And that is it. Have a great day. Goodbye.